All systems go. Clear for liftoff. What's up, everyone? Tamboline here, a.k.a. ToeTagginTambo, back for another edition of the Monday Night Football Showdown show here on the Ship It Nation YouTube station. Got title, got hoop here with me as always. Going to break down all things Panthers at the 49ers. Hoop, bring you in, man. It was an interesting Sunday yesterday. The Jameis show, your Lions took a little while to heat up, but got the job done in the end. Quite the game. DFS aside, I love football games like that. That was a real game. Fun stuff back and forth. The Giants made it something. They ended up losing, but what a game overall.
Yeah, so we were I guess for me personally, I was very right and very wrong in regards to that Lions game. We all kind of said, we talked on the show yesterday about creating that rule to make sure you had one Lions player on each team. Well, hopefully you did, because you needed Gibbs or you weren't winning anything yesterday. Just absolutely nuke the slate. I thought the Lions would absolutely smoke the Giants and put up a huge number. Put up a decent number, but man, they definitely have some issues. There's no doubt about it. But nothing else too crazy on the slate. And then we get to Showdown, and you came down with a big time shipper. So congratulations to you. Kind of staying hot, so that's good. Good time of year. And we'll look to build on that momentum tonight. 49ers, Panthers, and I think it's a pretty solid, I'll say, showdown slate. We'll talk through it all, but a few parts of this game that I really like, and aspects of the game that are pretty appealing for DFS. So we'll break it all down. But congrats again after the big night yesterday.
Yeah, thank you. I said to our man Donnie Draper in chat, he was like, he said, are you going to be second half stress eating? I said no, because that lineup has zero chance to win. And then I was like, whatever, and did not go through it. Woke up at 6:30 in the morning with all the messages in chat. I go back and look, and it was the exact same lineup. Somehow managed to stay up top, or at least finish up top, because there was a Stafford lineup right next to it. So it was awesome to see that one hang on. Sometimes, like my man Title says, you need a little bit of luck, right? So that's how we'll take it. Good night. We'll definitely take a flag chopper and move on to the next one. We get back tonight. Should be a fun slate though. Title, how was your Sunday, man? What's going on with you?
Yeah, I think I broke even. And if I broke even, that is a great Sunday, especially to start this year. So take that. I'm excited for this game. I think the Panthers are a decent football team. I mean, I heavily respect the 49ers at home. 7.5. Yeah, they've taken a little money recently, but Rico's a beast, Tet's a beast. And when you have two studs like that on offense, defense can play a little bit too. I think we could be in for a competitive game. Maybe that's just my hopium setting in. But yeah, excited for some football tonight, good prizes, and Thanksgiving right around the corner. It's a great week.
Yeah, and the chat's all in there for you, Hoop. We congratulated Title on yesterday's show, and today it's me from last night, tonight's Hoopster. Yeah, that's how we do things around here. We love to see it. So we'll get her done. Nades is in the chat talking about your boy. I literally laughed so hard yesterday when you did the X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, search up of Goff. And you're like, yep, yeah. Still plays.
Yeah.
You just screenshotted the whole thing, like all 8 comments of your points.
It's all true, and they're just not going to win with him. Like he just is so bad under pressure, like so bad under pressure. And obviously they ended up getting the job done and winning, but I mean, that's against the freaking Giants. Like it's not an impressive win. So yeah, they're definitely an overrated team. I don't think they're a contender this year, unfortunately.
It was crazy yesterday too, because I know that everyone's sweating the survivor streets. And it was like the Ravens were down, the Lions were down, Kansas City was down, like anything and anyone. Not that everyone had all those teams in play, but it was certainly a moment there where you're like, okay, which team is going to lose this today? Yeah. And then none of them really lost.
Let's talk about that, Tambo. I mean, I'm starting to get nervous for the Ravens. I'm starting to get nervous. He's not showing me prime Lamar stuff right now.
Yeah, I wonder if he's still dinged up. He definitely doesn't look
playing like it. I'm almost hoping he is, because if this is now the Lamar we're getting all year, I just don't see it.
They'd be dead. I mean, they'd be 100% dead in the water if that's the new version of Lamar. They're done.
Yeah,
but they have to be lying. And I'm a Ravens fan, but it's like there's no way he's not hurt, or he's like pulling up on certain plays, and you see him as he like gingerly creeps out of bounds. It's like, and then they say, oh, it's not that. He has nothing wrong with him. It's all fine. no limitations. Like I don't see it. So we'll have to see how it shakes out. But yeah, definitely nervous about the longevity and even this game upcoming on Thursday. We're gonna have a huge slate. Hoop, myself, and our man Alex Blick will be back on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern on this station. So make sure you're subscribed to break it all down. But Burrow back. I know there's no Higgins, but you'll have Chase back from Spitgate, and they'll be able to play. And I don't know. It's tricky, man. I know it's his first game back for Burrow, but the Ravens tend to make things close, even if it shouldn't be. And that could be another spot. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, just what a NFL we have. I mean, I couldn't be wrong. It's so week to week. You think the Chiefs are the best team in football, then they stink. Josh Allen puts up a dominating performance, then they lose. Like the NFL is fun.
What about that? Yeah, our man Tyler's in here. We still know him, even with no governments now, the way YouTube does it. We can still tell who's who. Rams only real contenders in the league. Everyone else.
I mean, they clearly look like the best team right now. I mean, if you had to say who's the best team in the NFL, I mean, I think the answer has to be the Rams. I mean, I don't think you could. Honestly, I don't even know if you could make a case for anybody else.
Like, you want Stafford back over Goff?
100%. Sign me up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Sure. He would be the perfect guy for like what Detroit has with Amon-Ra and I mean, obviously the situation's working out quite well in Los Angeles for him, but he would be the perfect fit. I mean, he'd be a perfect fit on a lot of teams. I mean, he's playing it's crazy because he's 38, 39, and he's playing the best football of his career, and it's probably not even close.
Yeah, some of the young guys, man, it takes a little while. I feel like you need to get a little seasoned in the NFL. You got to have that experience. It's just different. It hits different. You feel all that. So I think that's something for sure. If I had Title's old glasses, maybe said looking like a serial killer, I hope he wins the Millie soon. Remember Title? You got those?
Oh, I wear them all the time. Blue light.
Yeah, those ones. If I put those on right now, it'd be a very, very rough scene over here. It'd be very tough. But all right, let's
definitely
get the
serial killer status for sure with those in that stash.
No, we don't need none of that. We need to be safe. We need to take care of the kids, man. Be safe. It's holiday season coming up. You got to take care of everyone. So, Hoop, what's your grand scheme overview for this game? McCaffrey, at least from DFS wise, it looks like McCaffrey's going to hit kind of Josh Allen levels. If it was the Bills slate, if you will, it's kind of like that type of setup. So how do you think it's going to play out? And what are your first thoughts on how the game's going to go?
Yeah, McCaffrey's definitely the, standout top projected guy. He is priced up there. They did a good job. They got him at 12.4. So you are making some sacrifice if you do play him, but with value options, he's definitely going to be the highest. I mean, the one thing that definitely stands out to me on the San Fran side is now that all their guys are back, everything is very consolidated. I mean, very consolidated. There's not many fringe pieces with the 49ers offense. I mean, you got Purdy, you got CMC, Jennings, Pearsall, and Kittle. Like, it's a large majority of what they do is going through those guys. So it makes it somewhat easy, I would say, for figuring out where is it going to go. If it's not McCaffrey, who else could it go to? On the Panthers side, they have pieces. They have high volume guys that can get the job done. We've seen our guy Rico Dowdle get the job done all season long. He's 10-4, and then Ted McMillan is legit. I mean, Ted McMillan is a real wide receiver in the NFL, 9-4. So you have guys on the other side, high volume guys that can do some damage fantasy wise. So I like it from those two aspects. We have a consolidated 49ers offense, and then we have a couple pieces on the other side that are legit fantasy options. So that's why I'm kind of liking this game here tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Good breakdown, actually, kind of how I was thinking about it. So, Title, anything you have to add to that or anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised at first glance seeing like McCaffrey that high owned at captain relative to, I mean, there's plenty of other good guys on the slate. When we're getting into captain, right now my lean is if I go under on McCaffrey, I can probably go overweight on 5-6 legit guys that I think have 100-yard, 2-touchdown upside. And on top of that, DraftKings, like Hoop said, price McCaffrey up appropriately. 12-4, and the next highest is 10-4 on a slate that I don't really see too much value on the slate. So everything's lining up. I'm really liking this slate right now. Yeah, it's scary being under on McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in football, but the lack of value with how many other guys I think are real players, that's my path today.
Yeah. Well, let's start there then, because you're going to talk through captains anyway, and we both kind of all of us gave our grand scheme overview. So if not McCaffrey. We could make a million chats about that. When you look at some of the flex options later on and ways to make them fit, they exist, but like you said, it's not as many as usual. Maybe. What's your thoughts then of alternative captains if taking an underweight stance on McCaffrey up top?
Yeah, he's 26%. So, I mean, right away, I see Brock Purdy, who he can spread the ball out a lot. He could throw one to McCaffrey, Kittle, Jawan right there. He's a quarterback that can get there that way. So I like Purdy up top. I like Jawan Jennings up top. I think he has big boy upside. I think George Kittle has a lot of upside. And I think Ricky Pearsall showing 3%. He's definitely my least favorite of all the ones I mentioned, but he's 3% owned at captain. So I just think all of those guys are in play for me. If McCaffrey doesn't get there, they're still implied to score like almost 30 points. So I like all that. And then on the other side, it's definitely more condensed, but I think Tet and Rico are two studs. Their offense really runs through them. Bryce Young, Jalen Coker. I will say Coker's the cheap guy. I always try or not all slates, but some slates, especially when there is tight value. Coker, he was getting a lot of hype preseason. Then he got hurt right before the year. He had a lot of snaps, like almost 75% last week, which is his most. So I expect him to be an almost every down guy. I think he's interesting. We get to flex. I like him. Captain, I'll play a little bit. But just if you want to go Tet, Brock, Rico, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle, you could add Ricky Pearsall in. Like, you can get overweight on all of them if you're decently underweight McCaffrey. And I think that's what I'm going to do today.
Yeah, I know it's interesting, Hoop, because it went well for me last night, but just even the thought of it and how it ended up playing out and looking back at it, like, I just thought there's no chance with Adams that it would hold. And that guy had 2 touchdowns and everything else going for him. It's like, man, it's so tricky when these quarterbacks spread it out like that. So for tonight, I guess the reason to bring that up is, like, obviously we know McCaffrey looks good, tons of ways to still play him. He's going to be in there. Even if you have any type of a portfolio at all, it doesn't matter if you're underweight, you're still going to have a bunch of them regardless. Like, Title could have 20% McCaffrey and be underweight, but still overweight on those other guys. But Hoop, Jennings, Pearsall, like, I don't know, like, Kittle feels like the 2 touchdown guy, or to Title's point, like the Coker play where it's cheap enough that it would fit the other guys where you can't fit them all unless you have a cheap guy up top. But it really does feel like if it's not McCaffrey, it's one of Purdy or Kittle from that side, because that's how you'd think that they would suck up the energy or get the points that way. But I don't know. What do you think? I think Purdy's probably the place that I'd want to move to first, and you're not getting a huge ownership savings, but at least some.
Yeah, I like the Purdy play up top just kind of for that reason. It's like you're not playing McCaffrey up top. You're hoping that most of their offensive production comes through the air, and then it gets spread out. And with Purdy up top, playing Purdy, there's a pretty good chance that it does get spread out, because a lot of it's still going to go to McCaffrey. Like, even the passes are going to McCaffrey. So you have a running back that catches the ball more often than any other running back in the NFL. And then you have Kittle, and you have Jennings, and you have Pearsall. So I think it's just very logical to go to Purdy next. He would be my second favorite captain. So I do agree with you there. I also like the point that Title made that, like, if you're not playing McCaffrey, or not playing, if you're playing him lower than the field, then you're able to get overweight on everything else you want pretty easily. So just looking at some ownership stuff, we have McCaffrey at 26% up top. That could get closer to 30. And then if it gets closer to 30 and you just play, let's say you play half of that, you play 15, you're able to get over on Purdy, Kittle, Jennings, whoever the hell you want. So, if not going McCaffrey, Purdy is definitely my second favorite, but he is also the second highest owned. It looks like we're showing right around 15, 16%. But to me, it's just logical to go to him next.
Yeah, I want to just chat on something real quick. I just want to make sure of something. Yeah, this is, our man Philly, always out here, had another big week. He was in the takedown breakdown this morning. Said 3 straight weeks. So shout out to Philly getting it done. But just on the point he's making, this is fine. Like, if you can't figure it out after yesterday, not you, just everyone in general, like, it's just who you've talked about this for so long. And I just always address it when I can. It's like the ownership thing. Yesterday, everybody was like 15, 20% or more. But why didn't everyone have them together in the exact same 270-point lineup? It's because that's the whole point. Like, Jameis was 4%. Wandale was 7.7. Everyone else was pretty much 15% up to almost 40% with Gibbs. Like, people got to stop moving off people just to move off. You can get different in other places. There's tons of ways to go. The reason Purdy's comfy is because all the stuff we just explained. It may or may not work out, but it just makes a ton of sense. If Devontae Adams can get 2 touchdowns last night and almost not be needed up top with 5 catches and 63 yards, whatever it was. Well, Jawan Jennings gets 2 touchdowns tonight and 5 for 40 or something like that. It's not to say he would be up top for sure, because there's still McCaffrey. There's still, if Purdy just spreads that around to one other touchdown to Pearsall or one other to Kittle or something like that, it immediately can hurt those spots. They're all at similar price points. Jennings a little cheaper, but just noting it, that all those factors matter together. So I'd worry less about that and the rest of the roster and the construction as a whole. Tyler, I don't know if you have anything you want to add on that. I just think it's important to remember, like your exact point. You can get lower on somebody else, pick up on somebody else, get leverage that way, or you can get different with the rest of your lineup.
Yeah, exactly. And like I'm saying underweight McCaffrey, I'm still going to play some McCaffrey. And at the end of the day, like it's 12:15 by me. The game's in 6 hours. I always wait for inactives to build. But just right now at first glance, I think there's a lot of guys that can get there that are a lot cheaper than a guy that's going to be 1/4 owned at captain. I mean, if he's not the optimal captain, that's 1/4 of the field down. And yeah, that's just how I'm seeing it right now. And on top of just the value being really tough. So, yeah.
All right, take us into running back then. I know we talked. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to actually elaborate on, I guess, outside of the captain stuff, we can elaborate on Bryce Young specifically if you want. The guy had a career game last game. I did see the stat. I think it was 41 starts, 35 or 36 of them were sub 250 yards. And then he goes out and has that massive game, which is a career game for him. But as we said earlier, sometimes it takes quarterbacks a little longer to show up. Do you see something like that happening here? Can he push it enough? What's your sort of thoughts on Bryce Young as a whole?
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned in the fact that if he fully gets there, I almost think it's like last week, career game. But you would have needed Ted up top instead of Bryce Young. Is Leggett and Coker? Yeah, maybe you can throw one to all 3 of them, and then it's Bryce Young. I think he's low enough owned where if you're playing enough lineups, he should be in the pool. They're 7.5-point dogs, so they could be chucking it all second half. Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think if he gets there that it has to be Tet, or there's enough options now? Sanders. I think I'm more talking myself into it the more I'm talking.
Yeah, look, I just look at the stone and there's so many options that are highlighted that I'm like, man,
there's so many.
If it is a multi, like if it's split on those guys, I feel like he's going to split it more, but we'll see. But if I like Purdy up top, I can kind of like him. I think I'll have both quarterbacks in play tonight for me. Hoop, anything else?
Nah.
On Bryce.
Like Bryce Young, yeah. I mean, just I don't know. I don't like it. He's had big games, but I don't think it's going to be here. I'm just I don't think I'll play him up top.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you keep going then, Title, if you want to take it away with anything else on quarterback. Otherwise, you can take us into running back, where it feels kind of like McCaffrey, huge gap, Dowdle, really big gap, and then whatever you want to do with the backups. But I guess like in a blowout script or something like that, you could see other guys get in the mix.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play Brian Robinson. I think he's pretty strong. He's been getting a decent amount of more work. I mean, 8 rushing attempts, 5 target the past 2 games. He has fresh legs. And like when he comes in, McCaffrey's already wore these guys down. I mean, he just goes up the middle. Touchdown equity on this slate, plus 330. And that's above like Leggett, Coker, obviously Purdy's rushing. But I mean, that's a pretty solid touchdown prop when you're comparing to others on the slate. So obviously McCaffrey and Rico, 2 good plays. Like Chuba at 4,400. I mean, give me Brian Robinson all day. Granted, owner or projection shows that, ownership shows that. You can always play, I guess, for the injury. Still feels really overpriced. Use check. I don't know. There's no one down there. But for most people watching, probably not playing a bunch of teams. Really McCaffrey, Rico. But I do like Brian Robinson quite a bit.
You almost said Brian Thomas Jr. in place of Chuba Hubbard. I might take a injured Brian Thomas Jr. over Chuba Hubbard. The way it's seen that guy running, like it's just been bad. But yeah,
not bad for them both.
Yeah, it's pretty true actually. It's a pretty tough scene. Hoop, what do you think at the running back? I think I like the Brian Robinson call just because, again, it's not even about the play as much as the slate. And where we're going to have McCaffrey be so popular, like anything that he steals could be valuable. And obviously you can play both together at that price. You can play blowout scripts. Like I said, if you're not in on the Panthers showing up as much in this game, that could be a possibility. What's your thoughts at the running back position?
So when you look at people in this price range, like 3,400, 4,400, I'm talking about the backups. We already, no need to really discuss McCaffrey and Rico anymore. I mean, we know they're solid plays. We all kind of like them up top. They're totally fine, whatever you want to do in the flex. But you start looking at like Brian Thomas Jr. and Chuba Hubbard, they're priced right kind of with the defenses. And you go to wide receiver, we've been able to find on recent slates a ton of cheap wide receivers, a ton of guys in this range. It doesn't really exist on this slate. There's not much. So you're almost forced to at least take a look at these guys. And for me, like if deciding, it would definitely be Robinson Jr. He has a legitimate role. He's going to get some work. McCaffrey's so involved. They just have to give him breaks here and there. And he's looked good. So fine with him. Chuba Hubbard, okay, and use check. I would definitely limit those last two. I don't want a ton. But Brian Robinson Jr. would be my favorite here. But you're almost forced to take a look at some of these guys just because of the nature of the slate. And there's just not a ton of overall plays. Like a lot of times, like I said, when we get to wide receiver, there's a lot of guys we can look at. There's just not much there on the slate. So you're kind of forced to take a look at these backup running backs.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky. Usually we've had, at least the last, I feel like 3 to 4 slates, we've had wide receiver roulette with 6 options on every team, It feels like, and really hard to pinpoint it. Whereas here it feels like kind of like these are the better options. And one thing I'll just say to that, I guess it ties it all back together because people are asking about like some of these guys in captain, like Brian Robinson and who was the other one that somebody else mentioned? I forget who it was earlier. Someone mentioned somebody else that was cheap. Anyway, the point being the cheaper captains are always going to lead to the more duplicated lineups, unless you leave money on the table or get different with a spot where like if the lineup lands on Jennings, instead of playing Jennings to fill it out, you put like Demarcus Robinson and boom, and see what happens. You'll have way less duplicates, way more risk taken on, but you know what you're getting into when you do that. But it's like you need a perfect storm almost to hit. And that's the other thing, Title, when you've got these wide receiver options we're about to get to in a second, and you feel like, okay, there's 2 to 3 on this side, 3 to 4 on this side, whatever it might be, you can kind of just use roster construction to your advantage because like if you went to a Bryce Young captain, way different already. And now you've got options that are comfortable with him if he was to go off. Obviously, like we said yesterday about the Hurts lineups, and they started strong and then fell apart. But if you needed that game to go, and eventually how it went, but not enough to get there. But my point is like, you kind of know what you need. If you have Bryce Young up top, you can just flip Coker, McMillan, Pearsall, like these. If you make these guys captains, you're already pretty different. And now you could sort of fill it out with the other stuff, and you could still have like a B Robinson in flex that way instead of just using him at the captain saying, but I can fit everything. Well, you still need everything to go perfect. And then you're going to probably be backed into a corner with everybody else. Doesn't mean it's not good. It's just why we typically don't like it as much. But yeah, take us into these wide receivers.
Yeah, receivers. So, I mean, Carolina side, Tet is a strong play. We keep talking about him. I really like Coker, again, on a slate where I don't love value, 4K. I think I like him over Leggett for sure. 6,400. I will say, like in really chalky lineups, if you want to get a way to differentiate, he's going to be low on like 12% for a receiver that has 2 touchdown upside or will be on the field. Give me the price discount to Coker when we need value though. And again, great opportunity last week. So I like him quite a bit. I also like Demarcus Robinson, like more than Kendrick Bourne, 3,800 Bourne, 3K Robinson. Robinson outsnapped him last week. He took it over by a decent bit. Let's see. Bourne 24% of snaps, Demarcus Robinson like 50%. So right there, like I prefer him in a vac or like straight up. So you build a Bourne lineup, you drop down to Demarcus, $800. Yeah, I do think you can save it easy. I do think he's higher owned, but still leaving the money and getting a better play in my opinion. I like Jawan Jennings more than Ricky Pearsall. I think Jawan's really strong at 7K. Just a guy like, can Jawan Jennings outscore Tet? Yeah, I think he can outscore Ted. It's like a 2.5, 3-point projection difference, and you can leave 2,400. So that just shows right there you can do stuff. Yeah, I think the receivers are decently strong, but it's not deep. I like Jawan, Ted, DeMarcus, Coker, a little bit of Ricky Pearsall. Outside of that, though, maybe like this Bryson Tremaine guy at 1.2K. But yeah, you're really hoping down there for like a 1 touchdown, and that'd be optimal.
Yeah, I really like one of the points you brought up there, and it may be second nature for some, but I think it's important. It's obviously what we stand by is trying to teach people how to play DFS. It's actually, I don't know the best way to word it, but essentially, if you want to max out your salary, the more you spend, almost the more you need to find leverage within some ownership or a roster construction flip or something like that. But if you're leaving the money on the table, it doesn't matter as much that you're using people. Oh, it's all the chalk. But if you left 1,500 on the table and it's all good plays, then you're still better off. It's just you found a different way to use them. And most people are spending all their money. So like you said in that example, well, yes, you're actually doubling the ownership probably on Robinson over Bourne. It's you're leaving, if you find a lineup that has 800 more in it and then just drop it down from what could have been Kendrick Bourne, that may in that case get you different, but it applies all the same. That's the exact math, because 3,800 to 3K, if you had $1,000 that you could get to him and you leave it, then it's still leaving $1,000 on the table. So there's even more combinations that would fit within. So all those little things add up, especially in the game of Showdown. And it's why there's still a pretty solid edge, I think, to this game in general. Hoop, anything else you want to add, or I guess, yeah, take your shot at wide receiver or whatever else you have there, and then we'll keep it moving.
Yeah, not too much more to add. I mean, it's a smaller overall pool at the position than we've seen recently. I guess the one thing that definitely stands out is the Leggett thing, or Leggett, however you pronounce his name. It's 6,400, coming in pretty low owned. A lot of people are going to play Coker over him. I think, for like a leverage sort of play, he stands out. Just this comment here, that's what everyone's going to be thinking. He's $2,400 more. I definitely keep him in the pool, and probably got to force him in a little bit, but I think it could be worth it. Jennings for sure stands out to me as like the top play, the guy I want the most of in flex and captain. I mean, 7K price tag is very fair, and I think he's got a lot of upside, and he's looked good. He's looked good this year. And then you got the fringe plays, Bourne and this Tremaine guy, potentially title taught on Demarcus Robinson at 3K. It's pretty straightforward, but Leggett stands out to me for sure as someone that's going to be low owned, and he's going to be out on the field quite a bit.
Yeah, agreed. The payoff for probability thing that you brought up there is key, right? It's the reverse of what Title just said, going the other way. And again, you could still have money left on the table. It's not to say spend it, but it's just a lot of spots there where you could go to Leggett and have him at a way lower ownership. And he's caught touchdowns. So he can definitely do stuff out there, but the price seems insane. And like the comment said, the props don't back it, but that's the whole point. Like that, again, you know what you're going to get when you go that route. You can definitely, there was a bunch of guys yesterday that didn't hit their props that you felt would. And same thing goes the other way. There's people like, holy shit, how did that guy do that? His prop was this, and just crushed it. So it's different on every slate, right? Those numbers are set up for a reason, but just noting that. I think the Jennings call is like, if he has feels like he could have like a Robinson type game from yesterday. We saw Wandale come out, get it done early and often, if that's the case. Because that one's interesting too, Title. I'll let you go to tight end in a second, but just to close that one off, I liked your Robinson call. I like Hoops Jennings call. Pearsall for $600 more looks to be coming in a little less. I know last game out, it wasn't the best for him. It was just, getting back into the swing of things. What do you think about Pearsall one more time?
Yeah, no, I like it. To be honest, I like a good amount of these receivers. It's a tighter receiving pool, but I mean, it's kind of good when Purdy drops back, it's going to go to one of like 4 or 5 guys. And then Bryce Young, it's even more condensed. I think Coker, Leggett, McMillan. So when I'm eating chalk, when I'm playing McCaffrey up top, maybe I'm probably more likely to play Leggett to get a little different that way. Maybe not play Coker, just little things like that. But I'm going to embrace, all these receiving guys, because I think you can leave money with them. At the end of the day, all these guys can outscore McCaffrey. I'll say it. I mean, a bad McCaffrey game. I remember whatever it was a couple of years ago, Panthers like Showdown Slate. He was like 100% owned, like 55% owned at captain. He got like 13 points. Like, we see crazy things happen. So I just think there's a lot of upside in these receiving rooms when they do hit their 95th percent outcome.
Yeah, and before you go to tight end too, like I think another thing that was thought, I forget where I saw it today. People were talking about it was how Bijan just smoked these guys and then Ted on the run back. So it's like if you put CMC up top, just plug Ted in on the other side. Because we don't have a ton of value, I don't know how good that builds out without people like sort of landing in similar spots. So I do foresee, to your funny enough, to your point, is like people not there. That's another reason where they're not going to land in the middle, because they're going to go CMC with Tet, land whatever builds they can get. If it's good and they like it and they're happy, they'll stop. But I think others are going to be like, that's a bit much. Let me go CMC up top, drop all the way to Coker. And then they're like, now I got money to spend. Versus if you can somehow find one that you like with Coker in there as sort of the separator in between both, that's where it gets a little bit interesting, because then you end up with a different build based on him being lower owned, but then also how you get to spend the difference on the rest of your money. So yeah, I like that call. Little things like that I try and pick up throughout the shows help out. So let's go to tight end title. We talked a little bit on George Kittle, but there's tight ends both sides of the field here. So what do we got?
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers tight end situation, they rotate quite a bit. And so I think all of them are in play and they're all cheap. So Jatavian Sanders, 2,800, Tommy Tremble, 2,400, Mitchell Evans, 2K. Ownership-wise, it's going to go Sanders, then probably half of that ownership's Tremble, and then probably a third to a quarter of that ownership's Evans. Props agree, like the touchdown prop on Sanders plus 475, Tremble plus 750, Evans plus 1,200. So, and a lot of that is like Sanders is a big body. They like him in the red zone. Only a 17.5 receiving prop. No other props for the other tight ends. We just don't really have value on the slate, and they're lower owned than the Brian Robinson, kind of. Like Tremble's a pivot. I'm going to play him in lower or in chalkier lineups. I'll play Tremble. When I'm already getting different, I think Sanders and just spending the 400 makes more sense. Evans is the more teams you're playing, I guess, but you're just pretty much hoping for a catch there. So that's not fun. Outside of George Kittle, like Luke Farrell, they're fully healthy now. I don't know why they're really throwing to Luke Farrell, but what's his touchdown prop? Plus 1,200. If you want to odds convert that, 7%, whatever that is. It's probably going to his likelihood to score a touchdown, if you're based that number, is higher than his ownership. Big Marley and I talk about that sometimes, so it can pay off. But yeah,
I like the Tommy Tremble call.
Yeah.
Anybody with the initials double T, always good with me. But I will say, I feel like he just gets involved a little bit more. And I also see, again, I don't know what actually holds true for the ownership, but man, 2,800, Sanders is great, looks good on the stone, things are fine, but it's not like Tremble's that far behind. And that's one of the things when I'm using the stone, if you're not a member at Ship It Nation, $19. It's literally the best time, by the way, to get that. Not just a promo code. I'm just talking about using it, but Thanksgiving is on Thursday. So if you want like Monday, Thursday, plus all the stuff leading up to
Friday.
the weekend. Yeah.
We got a Friday showdown.
Friday as well. Too. Yeah. Great call. I use it for that reason. And on Showdown is one where I'll just like let it trickle down a little bit. Like if you look at, Sanders' projection and his ceiling, and then you see his ownership, but you look right beside him. It's not, yes, it's like half, but it's also the ownership is cut in half. So it's in something like that. If I can just leave that $400, I'm fine with it. And not too many lineups are going to land directly on Sanders. So it's more likely that it's like 3,200 left. And then I'm deciding between all these guys. I can't quite get to Brian Robinson. Fine. I'm not going to change up everything. He might not even fit the build. I'm not in on anybody else. So Sanders fits perfectly and leaves a little bit of money, but so does Tremble and gets me even less duplicates that I'm up against. And that's what we're trying to play for, right? We're trying to win all the money when we win it. So, or as much as we possibly can. That's kind of the kicker. So I like that call quite a bit too. Hoop, back from the bathroom break, I believe. Ready to rock and roll on some tight ends here. What do you got?
Actually, opening the door for a little guy getting home from school, but
I got it wrong.
yeah, close.
I still can't get over that. 12:30 my time, and your kid's walking
crazy.
home from school. Day's done.
So damn early. That bus picks up at like 6:55, and yeah, he's home by. He's already actually just texted. He's already on the bus heading home. So it's 2:30 Eastern. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I was listening. I mean, nothing more really to add. I mean, like Kittle, and then I mean they're playing all these tight ends to some degree. But yeah, I guess the one thing that definitely stands out, like if the difference in ownership with Tremble and Sanders is really going to be that substantial, like, I mean, I think there's definitely some opportunity there. We're showing 10 for Tremble and 20 for Sanders. So basically double the ownership, and projection isn't all that far off. So yeah, I like that as kind of a pivot, and then maybe throw in some Evans, but not super interested in that, but you guys covered it pretty well.
Yeah, the other guy, I guess that was in that range when I was saying like just my example with 3K, he's not a tight end, but like Title mentioned earlier with Demarcus Robinson, he's 3K as well. So yeah, I think there's some value plays down there. It's all how your roster sets up tonight, especially for those that just build. I know we always talk about our portfolios and MME and stuff. I recognize many people do build, 1 to 5 lineups or something. You're just trying to get a sweat on, or what does one good lineup look like? You kind of got to think that stuff through when you're building it, right? You start at the captain or whatever feels best to you, and sort of how you can fit it in. I think that's another thing too. Everyone does it differently, but if you want a McCaffrey captain, you kind of got to figure it out and try and get there. But if you want McCaffrey, Tet, Kittle, and I don't know, Purdy, and that's like your stuff that you want to work with, well, then you got to figure out how it fits and with what value play best about when you're putting it together. Because if you're playing that way, you're playing that you're just putting your money in good, and going with what you love and putting your money behind that. So in that case, you might have to put Kittle to the captain to make it all fit or something. But if it works, then roll with it. Don't play options you don't like. And sometimes these little tidbits or things we throw out there could be ways to help you make it different and leave a little bit of money or at least save on the ownership some that way. So Hoop, I'll go back. I'll stay with you actually on kickers and Ds here in this game. How do you see it sort of playing out from that perspective, and what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to, I guess, either defense. I mean, I definitely prefer 49ers. I think they're fine. And on a slate where there's just not a ton of overall plays, like 49ers defense I'm good with. And it doesn't look like they're going to be all that highly owned. So I don't mind that. Panthers, if I get some, and then I'm definitely in on the kickers. I think Gay is a phenomenal play. How about that? And then this Fitzgerald guy, fine, but definitely prefer Gay over Fitzgerald. And then 49ers defense I'm good with. So pretty standard, I guess, from me in terms of defense and kickers.
Yeah, I think people are higher on the kickers tonight than the D's title. Any thoughts on that or any additional?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And that makes 49ers defense my favorite play because I can go from Gay or Fitzgerald to 49ers D and just leave a little that way. But Panthers, I think they can fight, but it doesn't feel nice going against, full strength San Fran team with McCaffrey back there. Like they move the football well. But one play, we see it all the time. We saw it last night, Sunday Night Football. One play changes everything. Otten juggling it up and down and this and that. And yeah, so Titans, another one. They're big underdogs. They're implied for 14 points or whatever, and they get a kick return touchdown. Their defense is fine. So yeah, random stuff happens.
Yeah, I might even get just thinking about it now. Why are they so low? It just seems odd to me. Like defenses have been doing so well lately. People are interested in them usually. They're not really tonight for whatever reason. And it's not like the 49ers have a good one, but it's also not like Bryce Young, Tet, Leggett, and like nobody's jumping for joy over these plays. Look at the chat. They're all talking about it like, Tet, Coker's really a product of pricing. Is why people like that. No one's like a super, Mayo calls them the cokeheads. They definitely exist out there. There's some big fans of Jalen Coker, but in general, I think a lot of people tonight just like his price and what it makes work with a slate that's kind of starved for value, even though we found a few on here. So maybe it's interesting. I'd like to see what a 49ers captain looks like tonight as a secondary thought now that we, have a spot where people want the kicker, not the D. That could change some stuff up. It'll allow you to fit it. And I think that D story is 6,900, which is nice price up top. And you think about some of the other options in that range, Coker 6K. Yeah, it would definitely flip things a little bit. I'd be interested to see how that plays out, but they look like a 1% owned captain. So just on a final thought there, I'm with Hoop. I like Gay as the play. And then I think it would be the, Fitzgerald and just double kicker, things like that if the game doesn't play out the way that you would expect. But I think 49ers are the most intriguing here as a way to get different because McCaffrey will be popular, because Brock Purdy, Kittle, et cetera, like way more popularity there. You'd think the Panthers D would make sense from that perspective, but in the way I want to build is to fit those guys with a low-owned captain. That could still make sense and hurt the other side. I think that's kind of the way I think about it. Hoop, anything else you want to add, man, or anything on the FanDuel side of things?
Yeah, it's just looking through FanDuel and really seems, I know Title will chime in too, but it seems really similar. There's not much in terms of like pricing differences or anything. CMC 13.6 and then Purdy 12.4, Rico, then Bryce, then Tet in terms of salary, then Kittle, Jennings, Pearsall, so all kind of in line. And then you go down to some of the cheaper options and they're all kind of stacked up in the same area. I will say though, like the cheap plays aren't as cheap over on FanDuel. So roster construction probably, I would say, definitely is going to be much more difficult over on FanDuel. Just looking at this, the cheap guys really aren't super cheap. Like Brian Robinson Jr., 5,400. Coker, he's 4K on DK, 64 on FanDuel. They're all priced in the same range, but it's just overall not as cheap. Demarcus Robinson, 4K. Chuba Hubbard, 5,800. So I guess the main takeaway for me would definitely be roster construction is going to be much more difficult on FanDuel opposed to DK.
Yeah, I think the only one that stood out to me was Robinson, 3K going to 4K. but you nailed all the other ones where it's like a much higher jump. For Coker, for example, it's only $1,000 difference versus $2,400 over on DraftKings.
Right.
So anytime I see something like that, it sort of makes me think about it. And then the Robinson one jumps quite a bit, 2K. So big one though, 49ers, 4,600 up to 7K. So FanDuel knows for sure. Title, anything you want to add, DraftKings or FanDuel?
Yeah, just on top of Hoop's point, like FanDuel. So I'm running like my top 20 optimals. There's legit some teams that are full punting 1K that are projected for like no points. Like optimals are literally give me McCaffrey, give me Purdy, give me the main guys, and I will fully punt 0 with one of them. It's not worth paying 3K or 4K more to some of these guys, like the Brian Robinson we're talking projection wise. So McCaffrey, it's a really similar build. They're going to jam studs. McCaffrey's the highest, but value really is tough. So if you feel that people can outscore McCaffrey straight up in a vacuum, you can either leave money, get on a different roster, stuff like that. FanDuel's tough.
Yeah, if that's the case, I mean, then it's kind of like the only options I really see as like standouts would be the Tremble or Evans, because they're both way cheaper than Sanders over there, and I prefer Tremble. And then the Robinson play at 4K. Man, it's maybe Sky Moore at 1,200 might have, and I don't even like him at 200 that much because it just doesn't feel like you need him on DraftKings. But I guess over there where you could kind of use someone that you actually think might somehow get something.
Sky Moore, Trevor Etienne, Jimmy Horn, Kyle Juszczyk. Like Juszczyk will be the highest of all of them because he has somewhat of a real number because he's actually on the field. Yeah. But like we're playing tournaments, you're playing for first place. Do you like? Any bit of ownership for Juszczyk does not feel fun.
No, true, but I will say that's a good pickup because the chat was talking about they're all going to make fun of your favorite thing, which we've seen on main slates recently, the double dips. Right?
Yeah, it's been people have been housing kicks. The Dyke
but
guy
on FanDuel they priced up the 49ers, so you can't even get the nice double dip because the 49ers are 7K. So you go against everything you just did. But the other thing that you noted there that was key is Juszczyk is 1,400 on DraftKings, only 1,800 on FanDuel. So maybe he's the key to unlock it and play it that way. Because if you can take a 0, he could actually the dream world is you get that sort of check down from Purdy for a touchdown that you don't see too often, but you can see it. If you get that, you're in great shape. But yeah, if not, he might still at least give you something there, right? But
if you go Juszczyk and then you drop Juszczyk to Jimmy Horn, and somehow Horn outscores Juszczyk, you could be looking solo shipping versus legit a 20-way chop. Like the Juszczyk, FanDuel's a really interesting game. There's no doubt about that today.
Tell me one thing you know about Jimmy Horn Jr.
Little skinny fella that can make some plays when he gets the rock.
Just one thing. Okay, you got it. I wouldn't have been able to tell you much. I can tell you that one. 23 years old. Okay, we got a couple.
If you get him the ball, he can do something in space. The problem is these guys don't get anyone the ball. I mean, they didn't get Tet the ball the first 12 weeks. So
man, crazy neck tat across.
Yeah, Jimmy Horn.
And yeah, this is interesting.
Baller.
So yeah, maybe he's the guy. I don't know. I'm gonna build some FanDuel lineups after this. I like the game quite a bit. Like you said, it's just since they've changed it, it's made it so much better. We've seen a ton more uniques, as to be expected, but I do like the dynamics, and I love when we go through the pricing at the end of the show just to sort of see the differences and get some concepts and ideas because. Mostly the same thing. I was explaining this in Discord yesterday on classic slates because it's, if you need the Jameis Winston stuff and all that, like I think our friend Drea showed it off today or yesterday in the Discord of like the 2 lineups that won. Our guy P. Smith won a King of the Desert ticket, and that lineup was like a 1v1 away from the from the FanDuel winner of like the main tournament. But you needed that little bit of money that you couldn't quite afford it. So, but it still made it all work. So. Man, you know who always knows everything? Tyler.
Yeah, he does.
And he's so sharp. He comes
Sports
in. He's
junkie.
All guy at Colorado. All right, Bryce Young, Jimmy Horn Jr. Here we go.
Good for him. I mean, I will say, like the computer, that's broken. At least Shadur's moving out to the right and throwing it downfield. Like him over Gabriel. Let's go.
They did say they're going to start him. I know, like last
you have
night.
To.
Yeah, you got no choice now.
You won. And what about Jameis catching the ball, putting the dude in the dirt? Like Jameis was having fun yesterday.
That was impressive. That was impressive.
Insane, though. That whole play. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. That's what's nuts. People are gonna Jameis all the credit. That was standout shit. but Gunner looked better under pressure as a quarterback than some of these freaking quarterbacks on all these teams. It's like this dude shaking boys and getting out and then getting the throw off. And then Jameis did his work. I know he's, of course, going to get all the credit, and good for him. He did an amazing thing. But I was just saying, that's not an easy play to pull off. And I've seen real quarterbacks getting paid millions and millions of dollars, not shaking their dude like that when the defense is coming at them. So, yeah, crazy stuff. That was a very fun game. I said at the top, I'll say it again. I loved it. So, Gunner looked better than Goff.
For sure. Goff sucks. I'll stick to that. I'll
Goff
always
or Love?
Huh?
Goff or Jordan
I'd take any. I mean, I would honestly take anyone at this point over Goff. Anyone with some mobility. That's all I need is some mobility.
Stafford doesn't have mobility,
but he can escape. He escapes a little bit. That's kind of like my main point with the Goff stuff. Like, you just have to be able to escape pressure sometimes. Like, I get sometimes you're going to get sacked, but every single time a defense brings pressure and you just fold and stand there, like, you're okay. That's where I might draw the line. I might draw the line there. I'll draw the line with JJ McCarthy. I'll take Goff over JJ, but you're going to be hard pressed to get me to take anyone else.
The 9 stuff is so good.
Fields?
Oh yeah. I mean, now we're going like extreme stuff. So I mean, I would still be on I'd still be on Goff there. These are guys that aren't even going to make it on their current teams. Like, starting guys that are starting.
To be fair, you maybe would want Fields. I don't know. Fields had to deal with the Jets and with the Bears before they got bent. I mean, I don't know.
I think I still take Goff over Fields, but McCarthy, did you guys see the stat? He better off just spiking the ball than what he did yesterday from a quarterback passer rate from the rating. So wild stuff. Jameis, you take Jameis, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Not Russell Wilson.
No. Fuck no. Definitely not Russ. But Jameis.
And these guys are starting. They're starting Russ over Jameis week 1. You know what I mean? And Dart, but like
Dart. Like, how dumb are these NFL? I mean, I guess the guy got fired, but like, everyone knew that guy was a moron. Like, it is wild. There's some of the decision making is still just absolutely.
The Jaguars yesterday. Were any of you guys watch that game?
Yeah.
At the end of regulation. He went for that on 4th and 1, dude. You had no timeout. What are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing? I mean, just
what
so
are
stupid.
you doing?
So surprised on the sidelines. Like, it's like, no, you know what's going on here, man. You're lost. Oh, shit. What else? Oh, yeah. I got to shout this out. John Magnani, 439. I know, like, it's not government names, but I know who this is. So $93 to $200K yesterday. Congrats. Huge day. Gotta love to see that. So
congrats. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Anything else, Title, you got, man? Anything else you want to add before? No MMA this week. You'll be off enjoying the holiday with the family for the Thanksgiving week, so that's going to be awesome for you. Coming off a big MMA Saturday, you're seemingly pumped about a break-even Sunday, so you'll take that in the NFL streets and get it done tonight in the Showdown streets. We'll be back at it.
Yeah, that's the goal. NBA still going on. NHL for people out there. College football. Obviously Thursday, Friday football. I mean, there's a lot of time to make money this week. So yeah, good luck and go Panthers.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, you're cheering for that today. How many people do you think you can see it? Kay? How many have
25? Four of them.
Wow, be massive.
4 or 5, something like that. That'd be nice.
Just somehow pull it off. I just want to see that go, man. Just get it done. That'd be so nice.
50% on them in the big splash. That would get down to the 100 range if they lose.
Hoops got a really good one.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's nice. Let's see how it plays out.
All was a 59-yard kick. If you get it done, you got to get that guy's jersey. What's his name?
Bates.
Jake Bates jersey.
That would have been brutal because nobody had the Lions. Lions were like 15% owned in that yesterday because no one had them, and I saved them for that spot. And that would have hurt. That would have definitely hurt.
Yeah, but we're still alive.
If you're not in yet, I should bring that up now. Make sure you get in at Splash. We got some more stuff upcoming. There's another there's a huge Turkey Day Survivor that's kind of cool. It's got some interesting stuff to it. I know our man Sheets is in the Discord taking care of everybody that's involved in that. But if you look at the one coming up for this week, and you can get the $50 deposit match bonus, so you can basically put $50, get one in for free, and then do whatever you want with your $50. That's the way to do it. Use code SHIPIT. But it includes playoffs and hoop. I know you and I were talking pre-show. Title is always down to chat about it. He got in a little late to our conversations. So he missed it, but you see that one, Title? There's like a Turkey Day version.
I'm looking right now. I'm reading about it right now.
50
50K to first. Yeah, 50 to
yeah.
bucks.
Yeah, I think so. And but like Hoop says, it's so good because it's like, you know, people are just going to be jamming like all the best playoff teams right now so they can get their win and move on. And you could just play the teams that you should just play the teams that won't make the playoffs and then have those available teams to you. There's gonna be, I think there's cool. a pretty good edge for that one right now. So I'm getting into that one today as well.
Yeah.
Hoop, any final thoughts, man? We'll be back on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You, Blickle, and myself, special edition of Leverage Lane, breaking down the 3-game. It's a bonus edition. We'll still have Leverage Lane on Saturday for the main slate. We'll still have the cash show, I believe, on Friday. Are you guys still doing the cash show on Friday, I think?
Yeah.
And then we'll have the Sunday show normal as well. So all the rest of the content is the same. But anything you want to add here, Hoop, before we get out of here?
No, good luck to everyone. Big week coming up. I mean, so much fun with the Thanksgiving games, and then we got the Friday game. So it's a action-packed week starting tonight and all the way through. So looking forward to it, and good luck to everyone tonight.
And yeah, I also think Ham and Nate's, the old Ham and Nate's special, going to be back for the Black Friday Showdown show. So we'll have that as well. All the content up on the site early. We got everything sort of switched over already. We'll get after it today once everything gets out of the way with the Carolina 49ers stuff. The pricing just came out first thing this morning. And by the way, if you haven't checked too, great contests on FanDuel. They came out early for once over DraftKings, but then DraftKings must have heard the complaints about the $5 versus the 44 mega and sort of nothing in between. They loaded it up in between. We posted them in the Discord this morning, all the options. If you go have a look now, there's like a $16 5 max that pays $20K to first, $10K to second, $5K to third, like really good contest. So check it out. We'll be back with more shows for you guys this week. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe on the way out. For Title, for Hoop, and for myself, ToeTagginTambo, let's ship it.